everyone. Welcome into another episode of Facts Not Feelings. I am so lucky right now to bring in Dan Moore of Vistadash. I am assuming at this point everyone knows who Dan is. And so Dan, I am just going to let you have the floor and let us know how you kind of got in this industry. I would do a whole introduction, but I think if I did, it would take up the entirety of this entire episode. So with all your accolades and how absolutely incredible you are. So I'm just going to let you roll with it. Dan, how did you get in the industry? How did you, we've talked a little bit before in past episodes. I am a bit of a homer on Vistadash and how incredible the tool is and how thankful that I personally am, because it makes me look like a genius, and I'm not a genius. I'm just, because of your tool, I am. So how you got in the industry, how you came about to get the awesome tool of Vistadash, and how thankful we are of it. So tell us a little bit about you and how you got into the industry.
Oh, my favorite part, talking about myself, not.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, some people don't know. I actually started out in the actual car business. Not like, hey, I was a vendor my whole life and I say I'm in retail. At 19, I got in, started as a green pea online selling cars. Long before social, where our social media was a box of business cards and we got to go put it on windshields. So that was social media back in the day when we were selling cars. So that was fun. But no, I've worked my way up through the ranks. Ran a Subaru VW dealership out of South San Francisco many years ago. And then through that, just got into the vendor side of things through marketing as a whole, website, platform, CRM. And then to get to Vistadash, it was funny. I've been a long time friends with Brian Pash. We got to talking and he's like, hey, I'm taking ROI bot to making it Vistadash and thinking about like this more dealer play into the industry. And I'm like, well, that's intriguing. And we'd played with ROI bot when we were at Vin Solutions, because it was an interesting thought process of just everything into one platform. So from there, just jumped in and started to kind of give it that dealer friendly feeling, taking it more from like a consulting platform, but to more of a dealer centric platform, to where dealers could get in and find actionable insights around their marketing and make some decisions. And it's so funny. February was my 5th year with Vista. 3rd year, yeah. So, and even put it into perspective, a year right about almost the 2-year mark, we sold to Car Wars, which is Callbox, is the parent company. And then, so this just celebrated my 3rd year at under the Callbox Car Wars umbrella. So that was interesting to kind of look back. Mike and I were chuckling about like, man, we've a lot has changed in 5 years. And it was kind of cool being at NADA and seeing people that had, left the platform and then come back by and take a look and sign back up, because they're like, oh my gosh, like those that looked at it, 4 years ago, 5 years ago to where it is today, they're like, whoa. So that was cool. It speaks volumes to the team. I mean, I've got a great team that puts in a lot of work. We've got some brilliant people. I'm now probably the dumbest person amongst the organization. Super proud of that. But no, we've done a lot of work and we've listened to our dealers and trying to find ways to help them. And it's really progressed the platform, interestingly enough, from the platform of holding your vendors accountable to actually working with your vendors, finding the opportunities and how to make things better. It's not just, hey, let's go cancel somebody. Let's figure out where the break is in the process, right? And then along the way, it gets a little bit dicey, because then there's that moment where you got to look in the mirror and go, well, my people and process seem to be the problem. It's not the marketing. It's not the marketing person. So there's in that dose of, then reality sets in. So it's been fun, but that's been the quick and easy, journey of what we got going on. And I'm just so excited for what's to come next and the things that we're currently working on.
Yeah, and I will speak from experiences that being on the dealer side, having Vistadash and Car Wars, and I've used other products. There's not another tool that I would personally use, Vistadash and Car Wars. So I don't usually plug stuff on the show. I will plug Vistadash and Car Wars forever. It's not a paid promotion, folks. This is not a paid promotion. I just, from experience, have used both tools and they are absolutely phenomenal. And it's exactly for what Dan just said, is that they listen to the dealers. They listen to say, okay, how can we improve? And using other tools, being able to have that seamless connection and a seamless integration. And with Vistadash, having to be able to, being able to see everything in one spot. Can I go into Google Analytics and find all the stuff? Yeah, it would take me a hell of a long time to find all that stuff though. It makes everything so much easier. And I'm going to use the same thing, seamless again. I'm using the same word again here. And having Car Wars and both Vistadash have taken the new framework and being able to see, okay, where's my traffic? Is it service? Is it parts? Is it sales? And all of the traffic and the phone calls and having that all there and that actual true ROI. And then from there, once again, is it marketing? Is it process? Where's the breakdown? And working as a consultant or at the dealership level, not going in and saying, I'm not firing, but inspecting what we expect. Is this a marketing problem? Is this a vendor problem? Is it a person problem? Where is the breakdown? And it once again, it just pulls back that curtain to say, where is the issue? Where are we doing great? Where is the area of improvement? And there is no way that I personally could have done my job at a dealership level or what I do now without the tool. There's not even a question. So just thank you so much for continuing to do, and then not rest on your laurels, because you see too many times and I've seen this with multiple products that you have, oh, we're the number one this, we're the number one this. And as we were talking offline, you start pounding your chest and we're the best ever. And what happens? Someone else is like, oh, you are? Well, now I'm going to knock you off the mountain. And you all just continue to push the needle and say, okay, that's great. What else can we do? We continue to stay up with the trend. So just thank you so much from someone that's used the product and continues to use the product. And there's no way that I could do my job without your tool. So thank you so much.
Thanks for that. Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of funny because you think about, beating your chest saying we're the best. I always say we're the craziest. I mean, we decided to tackle reporting. It's in every product that anybody uses. So to create that standardization and lead the charge in it, it's pretty cool. Very humbling at times. But somebody's got to do the dirty work, and whether you get credit for it or not, it is what it is.
Yeah. And it's like you said, they're reporting, and because we're trying to get that standardization and there really hasn't been, now there is getting that standardization, everyone's got to have it. And so having a tool that does that is just, it makes our job easier. And so thank you for that.
Absolutely.
We're coming off NADA now. So what are some takeaways that I know you spoke there, as anyone knows, you're a great speaker and you have a lot to offer to our industry. Kudos for that. What are some of your takeaways from NADA?
It was great to see everybody in person. There was a lot of buzz going around, just people wanting to just see people shake hands, say hi. So that was really kind of the high side of that. It's funny, we're a little busier this time than normal, so I didn't get as much time to kind of go. I felt like I was running versus walking to things. But it was cool to see, just everything kind of going on. Techion was a big buzz. There's, they had a very amazing booth, traffic and energy going on about what they were doing. Cox Automotive obviously had, the Cox Wall Street walk. Busy going. I mean, there's just a lot of good stuff going on out there. A lot of new vendors coming into the market. I think that there's some great things to be looking at. Digital retailing still being the buzz more than anything. I'm not surprised there, but it's just digital retailing.
It doesn't seem to be going away. And I, talking with others
and
too,
it won't. I don't think it will. I mean, I think part of the thing is it just needs to be. I think what the industry needs to understand is we internally know what digital retailing is. The consumer has no idea what digital retailing is.
No.
Nor do they really care. It's more of like it's an experience that they're looking for. However you get to delivering that experience, they don't care what you call it. They just want the experience. So digital retailing solves some of it, but not all of it.
Well, and it's not a new concept, and that you need to, whatever you say you're going to do, just do it. Don't say you're going to do it and then not deliver. That's a big thing, is that, especially where we are right now and have been for the last little bit, is that because we're making X on things right now, or we don't have inventory, we're just going to say we're going to do it, but now we're not going to show pricing, or the price is going to be the same, or insert whatever the chaos is going on. And we all know this is, I'll say, semi short-lived. Or now we have OEMs getting in the mix, and that is a whole different show in itself. Well, now we have 7 different different tools in there. So now the consumer goes, well, I want to do this, but when I go to my Starbucks app, does Starbucks have 7 different tools that I got to choose? No.
No.
Well, does
Nor
Starbucks?
nor does Carvana.
Exactly. And
It is
on
a
top of that,
seamless experience.
it's a seamless experience. And because of that, from personal experience as well, because I know you and I both dealt with this, is that those different tools now have different prices. So which price is it? Because if I use any other tool outside of our industry, is okay. So if I use this one, I get this price, but if I get this one, I get this price. And if I walk in the store, well, I get a different price as well.
And then
What's the
talks.
process here?
But then nothing talks either, right?
Yes.
I mean, so it's like I have a trade-in widget. So I go in and I buy my car, however we want to talk about it. So I plug that information in. That's it. I get a number. I start shopping on your site. Nothing talks. I go to Carvana, I do the same exact thing. All of that information follows me from car to car, and that car pricing changes based on my trade-in value.
Mm-hmm.
There's some interesting pieces that we have to look at. And then unfortunately, it's so frustrating because the dealer always loses in the equation, because I've got digital retailing platforms that are being approved by OEM manufacturers. So if I'm a multi-brand dealer, I have to use maybe 2, 3, 4 different digital retailing tools that are never going to talk to each other.
Never.
So if Dan Moore goes from, looking at a Toyota to now looking at a Ford, right? So I'm looking at a Tundra, now I'm looking at an F-150. That information doesn't carry over.
Doesn't carry over.
So the consumer loses, the dealer loses. I'm not sure how the OEM thinks they're winning. Oh, that's right, because they feel like their brand standard is being achieved. It's like whatever the OEM's beef is with technology, I think they need to say, hey, listen, we're going to approve every vendor. We're not going to pick any. We're just going to say these are our brand standards. Please abide by this.
Yeah.
I think if we could just somehow simplify how we do things, I think we would see more synergy and more win across tech. But again, we build these, lovely walls of we're not talking, or we're not going to share, or, we're not going to give you an API, or if we are, it's going to, you have to pay for it. It's just, we create so many problems.
Well, once again, you go outside the industry, right? And I'm going to use HubSpot, for instance. HubSpot's a free tool. All these different APIs, you can build a Zap for it, and all these different things are free. Are they great? Some of them are great, some aren't, but they're free. Get outside the industry and all these things are free. We get inside the industry and nope, there's no single sign-on for anything. What? I know we talked about this. I don't know if it was MDMCS or if it was AAAS Summit, which is no longer called that. But we talked about having a single sign-on. Let's all just come together. And I know that we're trying to work towards that. The question is, can we really ever truly get to a spot where everyone's going to talk to each other, or have a large majority of everyone talking to each other? I don't know if we will or not. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I think there just has to be kind of a reset button. And we've seen starts of it here and there with some different, moves about, certification programs around websites, this, that, and everything else. So I think some of it's starting to happen. The question is how far we'll go. But I think as the dealers get more vocal, have a better understanding, and aren't you just being, fed a bunch of smoke and mirrors, and they start understanding the consequence of some of these tech actions, they're going to realize, hey, well, I went on Carvana and I was looking, how come we can't do this? Why is this such a problem? As that starts to get into more and more dealer meetings and rolls up, eventually you get there. I just think, it's again, it just puts us behind the 8 ball instead of being out in front.
Yes. I echo that a million times over again. And I know Brian had I think it was a post early this week, or it was right after, I don't know, it was last week or this week, about, what's their end game? Is it, my thought is, and whether this is, we're all kind of left up to guess. I know my speaking and my dealings with the OEMs, is your end game just to own the customer? Is that the reason why you're doing this? We're all just kind of guessing. The feedback that I've received is that you're kind of trying to read between the lines, and that's what you're guessing at this point. But if that's the reason, once again, the only person that's winning out of this is the OEM, and the customer is losing. So,
the customer is always losing, and so is the dealer. So I think reality is because these things are so big, manufacturers so big, and so you think about just people and politics and complexity is. I don't think anybody really knows what the end game is, to be honest with you. I mean, I've been in the rooms talking about website platforms and going round and round, And I always laughed. I'm like, so you just got done telling me you cared about the customer, but in the same hand, you just don't care about the customer. And here's 25 reasons why you don't.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I didn't think about that. I'm like, you were too worried about your brand standards because you think you have a prestigious brand. But at the end of the day, it's really only this. Sorry to offend you. Maybe I shouldn't be a part of this program, but I'm not going to sit here and listen to this because this is absurd. I mean, it's crazy at times. So I honestly don't think there is an end game. I just think it's just convoluted politics that have stifled innovation and growth.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you at all on that one. Don't disagree at all on that one. Yeah.
So,
Okay. So going back to a little bit with inspecting what you expect, and obviously Vistadash does this obviously very, very well. And it's not just with metrics, it's with your teams, it's with your managers, it's with process, because when you look into it and say, okay, where are we doing well, as we go back to say, where's the process of improvement? And it's with training as well. So, I mean, going with managers and what you do, help and talk a little bit about this. I think
gee whiz, I wonder what rabbit hole we're going down. Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. No, I think the reality to what we're uncovering is kind of what you alluded to before. Marketing isn't just marketing. When you're measuring marketing, it isn't just about marketing itself. You have the front piece of it, which is the inventory or the product in which you're offering. So whether it's the vehicle, the service appointment, the parts, whatever it is, that point that you're offering, that's first. Do I have a problem with that? Meaning, and the problem could be a couple different things. A, you just don't have the inventory. Shocking. That's where we're at today. It could be, I'm not merchandising it very well. I'm not presenting it. I'm, landing consumers in the wrong place to look at inventory. There's all these variables. Then we move into the marketing component, the messaging, the landing page, the things that happen within the marketing realm. How am I going about getting that? Am I looking at, whether I'm looking at, attracting new clients, retaining, all the different things that go into the different marketing buckets and what medium I'm using, then ultimately funnels down into the people in the process, meaning marketing got the conversion, got them to the consumer to engage. Now it's passed through via chat, text, phone, click to call, whatever it might be, into the dealership. Now the dealership has it in their hand and then they miss. And we can see that via close rate or how the activity is on the phone or whatever, the different measuring points. And I would say the unfortunate side that is not the, like we've talked about, that makes you not the fan favorite is the majority of problems with marketing is a lot of dealerships are just paying their way out of operational inefficiency. They don't want to address the people in the process in their store. So they keep throwing money at it to quote unquote, get me more leads so the team can cherry pick and not work at a very effective and efficient rate. Therefore, we're throwing it out of whack. It's not a favorable conversation, but the reality to it is that if we put more emphasis in our people in our process, we could adjust the output of spend that we have going in marketing.
Well, and I know we were talking about this offline a little bit. So the amount of money that is spent on, we're just going to throw more money at software. We're going to throw more money at whatever. I saw it at a 20 groups, so it's got to work. Oh, this was such a shiny. This is number one at our 20 group. So we're going to buy it. What the actual hell are you doing? No, because let's talk about it for a hot second. So you're going to spend more money on lead provider X. Why? What is happening with the leads right now? Let's just talk about it for a hot second. Right. Because if you can't handle the leads and you're not closing leads right now, why are you spending more money? How about you spend less money? How about you have more people? How about you spend more money on training? Look at the process that's happening right now, because as long as the marketing, your ad copy and all the other marketing stuff is working, it's internal. But heaven forbid that you actually open your eyes and take the blinders off and say, hey, we have an internal issue. We don't want to look at that. I was working with a dealership. We'll just say that, a dealership recently. And it was, well, you can't tell us that. But if your metrics aren't good and here are the facts, why would you not want to hear that? I'm telling you how you can increase and make more money and close more deals. And it's an internal issue. Well, no, it's got to be a marketing issue, but it's not a marketing issue. Once the leads get there, you guys aren't closing them. Here are ways you can improve, but it's not that. Okay. What do you want to hear then? I don't know.
That's kind of like the premise of your whole thing here. Facts, not feelings. That's feelings.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Dealer, what I'm hearing you say is that your feelings are telling you that this is but my facts that I'm providing you are telling you the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if my facts are going to overcome your feelings, because it sounds like you're pretty dug in on your feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But again,
I'll
I think
just,
a lot of the misconception is, though, people buy software because they think it's going to solve a problem. That means that I bought it, I wrote the check, I don't have to do anything. I think the
Mhm.
fundamental problem there, and what we spend a lot of time talking to dealers about, is you can spend all the money you want on products, but you have to put in the work. The
Yep.
dealers that are doing their best job are optimizing and maximizing every investment that they make into their strategy. So from making sure their pictures and their cars are properly, set up and are the belle of the ball in every landscape that they touch, whether it's third party, website, so on and so forth, it all looks good. And then they get into understanding the mechanics, no different than digital retailing. If you're not going to invest in digital retailing into the fact of what's your story, meaning walking the customer through the journey and what their expectation in this process is going to look like, and then you have the people in the process to back that up, right? It's going to fail. You're going to write a check. Nothing's going to happen. You're going to be like, well, this digital retailing sucks. It's not working.
Yeah.
Is it digital retailing or is it you? No different than some of the things that we're doing with, acquisition, right? So we're spending a lot of money in marketing, generating used car acquisition. Spend a ton of money and going, hey, I'm not getting that many at bats to get cars in here. Okay, well, let's walk into their process here. So you spend the money, you launch some campaigns, you're using email, Facebook, Google, you're driving them to the website, dropping them into the KBB trade-in form or whatever trade-in form you're using. You're wanting to acquire a car, but yet keyword I'm using is trade-in. Customers are going to probably have a rub on that one.
Yep.
Then I'm going to put it through, give me your firstborn, blood type, all the good stuff. Whoa, hold on here, I'm out, right? So we're not looking at how do I make it easy for the customer to engage in their terms, because the customer may come to this, we want to buy your car or trade your car in page. You give them the ability to go through the process of that level, or you give them a simple, hey, let's text chat now, and connect them with an expert on vehicle evaluation, not
funny
your
concept,
internet,
by the way.
yeah, not your internet department, vehicle. So
Yeah.
again, process. It's interesting to me. We're in a good position right now as an industry to where you have the time to break every process in your dealership and not miss a beat, because you're going to make the money because you can't help yourself right now. So why wouldn't I break every process I have in my store and figure out how to fine tune it? So when this lovely wave starts to wash away, here we are looking really good, ready to rock and roll for whatever comes our way. It just makes sense.
Well, because Dan, that's how it's always been done. We can't change it. We've always done it that way. I mean, come on.
Yeah, we've always done it that way. Mm-hmm.
I hate it. I'm like, well then, yeah, okay. We also didn't have wheels in the Stone Age, so that's why.
Blockbuster always did it that way too.
Yeah, and exactly. Yes, I
That was
love that
Kmart. I mean,
yeah, Shopko. Yeah, Kmart. Yeah, drives me freaking nuts. There was Alan Crutch from Fuse. He put this article up about drawing comparisons on just stupid facts, and it was Kevin Bacon versus drownings. And it was just like drawing comparisons on, is it good data or bad data? And I just started laughing. I was like, and it was just like all these crazy statistics that have absolutely nothing to do with each other. And so as you're looking to say, okay, are we looking at good data? Are we looking at bad data? And then are we doing something about it? And so as you're going through and checking each step of the way, whether it's on advertising, whether it's on ROI, and then checking with our team, are you looking at the right stuff? And going back to, Vistadash, you guys automatically say, okay, here, just the key stuff. Are you looking at this stuff? You can look at more for sure, but quickly, you can quickly see, okay, here's what we need to be looking at. Here's the quality metrics, blah, 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 versus going in and getting lost in whatever else you're trying to inspect. And so it was just as I looked at that,
we're just standardize.
Really true. Just standardize.
I mean, that's whether you use Vistadash or not, if you're not standardizing your metrics in your organization to understand and how to measure everybody on an even playing field, you've already lost.
Yes.
So that's the fundamental problem. If the providers are providing you the reports and you're trying to measure them against other, it's never going to line up because everybody measured to a different ruler.
Yes.
You have to standardize your metrics and say, hey, these are the metrics in which we're going to measure success in our organization. And if you're going to work in our organization, you're going to be held to these metrics, and that's just the way it is. Good, bad, or indifferent, doesn't matter. These are the metrics we use. Because at least then you're measuring on an even playing field. Problem is we get metrics all over. I mean, I see enough stuff going from, hey, we're going to measure conversion as a VDP view. Okay.
Good luck with that one. More power to you. Not
That's
sure
going
you
to be a
can
fun one.
standardize that one, but okay.
Yeah. It loses the margin to where you can go back to and say, hey, we sent these, a VDP view doesn't mean they went to the dealership.
Mm-mm.
Or that a dealership got an at-bat to have a conversation. So you gotta focus on the hard conversions to get to the people and the process part. And I think that's been the fundamental flaw of digital marketing for so many years, is that the metrics have been so very gray or argumentative. We can argue bounce rate, good, high or low, in whatever favor we want to. It becomes feelings more than it becomes facts. Bounce
100%.
rate, time on site, page views.
Time
I
on
remember
site.
how many times people would high five. We got 12 page views, and I'd be like, that's great, but you basically sent the customer through page hell because it took them 12 pages to get to the one page that you could have landed to in the beginning, but you chose to have them just stab their eyes out with a pencil because you're awesome.
Yeah, and you're lucky that the person even stayed on your page because you suck at
They
what
really
you do.
wanted that car, let me tell you.
Yeah. Because I personally would have went to a completely different business and different dealership because you suck at what you do.
Yeah, which is interesting times though, because now we're seeing kind of the quote unquote, without saying it, but we're seeing more of the microsites or quote unquote outside the website landing pages coming back. I get the why behind it, but then yes, there is that data gap because we're not cross domain tagging and doing things like that to help provide dealers with the connection of the dots to strengthen the viewpoint of your product.
Well, and it's since you brought it up, Dan, if you go back even 2 years ago, those same companies that are doing that were also, you were, as we'll say, consultants, and as dealerships, you were had a nice red check mark next to your name if you took your customers off site. And now they're building products that take the customer off the site and saying, well, that's okay. You can do that.
Digital retailing.
Wait. So now it's okay because your product does that, because your product doesn't have the capability to keep them on the site. Oh yeah, it's fine now. So your product is now making the consumer create an entire account just to view it. But 2 years ago, we were, had red check marks next to our name if our product did that. But it's okay that your product does it now because your product doesn't have the capability to do that. Oh yeah, no, that's okay now. Interesting. Okay. Interesting.
It's just the waves of fun that we come into, right? This was bad, now it's good. Next month it'll be bad again. It's just, again, when you don't have standardization, it becomes very, very hard to really get into success measurement.
Yes. Yeah, it is. And it's like you said, who ends up winning and who ends up losing at the end of the day?
Dealer and consumer, 9 times out of 10.
It's unfortunate. And I think it may have been Automotive State of the Union and that whole crew that just said that the disruption needs to come inside of the dealership world and not outside of it. And it's true, because so much of it is right now is just, we're just getting bombarded from outside, and it needs to come from inside. And those voices, the really big voices inside, need to make that happen, because I think that's where the real change is going to happen, because we're just getting slaughtered from the outside right now. And I think that's where it's going to come from.
Yep. No, it's starting to happen, but I think at the end of the day, it's not even disruption. It's just a seat at the table, a voice that's to be heard. And dealers need to be that voice, because I mean, they're the heartbeat at the end of the day. I mean, manufacturers can try and figure out how to, hey, well, with EV, we're going to bypass the dealer. It's only going to last for a second. Just because Tesla's proven the model that, hey, this can work, doesn't mean it does work for everybody.
Yeah.
They're missing the point to the inner workings of how Tesla works. You're not going to take, Ford's not going to become Tesla.
No one's Tesla.
It's too reliant on too many moving parts, and you'd have to, the level of construction reconstruction that have to be done to even remotely get to that level, it doesn't, At volume, it doesn't make sense.
No.
And that's the
realistically,
part
they
that,
wouldn't want to become Tesla.
no,
No.
not Ford. I mean, they didn't want to become
No.
Ferrari. I mean, you got to look at it like, that's some of the interesting perspective is look at some of how over history car manufacturers operated. Ferrari was very boutique. We're not for everybody,
Mm-mm.
you know, and low production, hand built, precision craft, racing pedigree, you know, I mean, Ford got into the racing pedigree, but again, it was a completely different outlook and a different process of how they went through that. So again, it's like going to a 20 group meeting. He's doing it. We should do it. Great idea.
Yeah. where do I sign? Sign me up.
Who cares about people in process? We'll just sign up and it'll all take care of itself. No one.
Yeah, just throw some money at it. I hear that works really well. So we're just going to throw some money at it and it will just work. And because I wrote a check, therefore it's going to work.
Yeah.
No. And then once again, in anything that even once you research it and say, okay, this product's going to work and we 100% believe in it. We've done the research. It's going to work. You still have to continually work at it, inspect it, make sure it's working.
Yeah.
Continue to train on it, because just because you bought the greatest thing since sliced bread, you got to continually work on it. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. I mean, you start a company. Just because I started a company doesn't mean I just, okay, I'm done now. No, you continually work at it every single day to make sure that it continues to grow, that you grow with the company. If your employees are, your employers are doing well, you've got to grow with the company as well. So the set it and forget it mindset, as we know, you can't do that. There's very few things in this world that is a set it and forget it. I mean,
the job's never done. And just because it's working doesn't mean you shouldn't try and break it.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
Just because the way you've always done it, just because it's the way you've always done it doesn't mean it's right.
No.
Just because it's working doesn't mean it's right. There's always something there. I mean, it's kind of the beauty of technology. We're never done evolving the technology. So I always kind of have the same approach with process. It's like technology. It's never done. You always can evolve it. You can always make enhancements and improvements and tweaks to it as you get more information and as your strategies shift and change based on things that happen. You've got to apply the process to that as well.
Yeah. So where do you see, I mean, we're in this, I guess, coming off an NADA, we've got some things, evolving, as you said. Where do you see the industry going?
Wow, that's a loaded gun. Well, it's just so interesting. I mean, there's so many things that you can talk about. You've got the EV conversations going. You got everybody trying to push hard there. You still have to contend with infrastructure. Our state's capable of delivering, electricity without brownouts, so on and so forth. You got that. You also have to take into consideration the last couple of years, we're down on new car sales by not a little bit. So if I'm in a dealership right now, I'm starting to think, am I going to start seeing some impact and heartburn around warranty work? So are my warranty numbers going to start dwindling because that number of cars on the street doesn't exist right now? Therefore, I don't get those at bats at that warranty work. So what am I doing around fixed ops to compensate for that?
That's a good one. Yeah. And I think also with EV there's all this push towards EV. Is the mindset there for EV? Like, we just bought a car, not the time to buy a car, mind you, but
forced into it.
Get forced into it. And we thought, do we want to go EV? And I said, I don't, if it's, I don't know.
It depends on market though. You're going to see market penetration based on, like, if you were in New York, EV kind of probably makes sense. Short drives, most people don't even want to drive, but for the most part, we'll just take the ability to navigate. If you're in California, it's interesting it's so high EV, but if you do a lot of driving, it becomes a little bit challenging because you can only go so many miles. So if you wanted to go from Northern California to Southern California, it's not like you just get off the exit and get a quick fill and then you're back on the road again. So it's funny, people carrying generators now. That's kind of cute in the trunk.
Did you see the photo of the Tesla that was getting gas powered generator? I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, when you start looking at how electric stations are going to be working, it's not, I mean, still fuel.
So we end up getting, and got a little Hyundai Tucson and love it. It's great.
Great
We
fuel
actually need a
economy
different
and-
car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
So-
it's interesting to try and be try and call the ball on where things are going, but it's hard to say because just because everybody's pushing one direction doesn't mean we go there, but then we find out maybe we didn't have a really good transition process. Again, people in that process part, even the government, I think they're missing the boat on, hey, we're trying to be, responsible with energy. But it's this radical movement, all or nothing. And it seems to be like, it plagues our industry too, is why does it always have to be all or nothing? Why can't I have a transition? Why can't I figure out how I stair step my way to a transition instead of it's like a light switch on or off? It's like, it's not that easy. The problems that we're facing are not that easy. It's not an on and off. It's very complex.
Yeah.
And we have to look through that, because if you just flood the market with EVs, is that really? And then not to mention the fact we're talking about batteries. How are they made? Where do you source the metals? How do you dispose of them? I mean, Toyota has how many Prius batteries sitting in a warehouse somewhere?
Yep.
Rotting.
Because
Prius has been on the market for a long time.
Oh, I remember back in like 2000, I think it was 2011. I was having a conversation with someone about it. I'm like, you understand that these batteries, it's greener to have your diesel truck than to do the EV, because they don't know what to do with these freaking batteries.
Correct. So that's what I'm saying. I think someone's getting paid for the hype.
Yep. So at some point with the EVs, yes, that they are, but you also understand is that if you're getting that EV, you got to stick with it. But I'm going to get a Tesla now. Now I'm going to get a Leaf. Now I'm going to get whatever next thing is out there. And you keep doing this over and over again. Is it really that green? No, it's not. Just stick with the same car for a long time. That's a little bit greener, but then you're stuck with the freaking battery situation.
Right. And that's why I think we'll see a hybrid movement, in the sense of like, we already have hybrids in the market. What I'm meaning is that households will be more hybrid. You might have an EV as well as a gas. So, or some people just go, fine, I'm just going to get a Prius because it's a hybrid. I get the best of both worlds. Or, people are trying to lean towards hydrogen, some other resourcing to do different power means. So I think again, we're on a hype. I think once we get more facts, we're going to really see where we end up. It's hard to predict anything right now. I mean, we've gone through 2 years of things we never even thought we would ever see.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, you can look at the data. I mean, I started laughing. I was at NAD. I'm like, yeah, how many of you guys think year over year data is going to matter for the next several years?
Yeah.
Yeah, year over year, we're up 577%, 1,442%. Yeah, no, duh, because you went through a pandemic where you weren't selling anything. And then you went to the greatest gross profit side of life. High fives.
Good luck looking at those numbers next year.
High fives. Yeah, high fives all the way around. I'm like, we're a hot mess express, because we're going to have
your arm hurts for freaking patting yourself so much. Calm down there, buddy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I mean, year over year is going to look completely different. To your point, we may see a decrease in gross profit. So then when you look at the financial year over year going into next year, it's just really hard to kind of get a barometer to where everything's going. And I think that people are trying to force it, and there's going to be some statements made, and they're going to be like questionable, because the data is it's hard to pinpoint right now. Things are all over the place. Until we kind of start to see it start to kind of level out a little bit, and we get a little, sense of like, okay, now we're leveled off. Now we're cruising. Now we're a little bit more stable, whatever that drop or up or tick or wherever it is. Then we can start having some baseline measurement, but it's still too early to tell where everything's going to go. I mean, that's the other thing too with the chip shortage. So EV takes how many more chips than a regular car?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not like 3.
No,
it's like thousands. Yeah. So you have a chip shortage, you're going to produce more EVs. Where are we getting chips? Or are we just sandbagging chips to push people into EV? That was the question. We were having this conversation at NADA over it's funny when you have cocktail conversations. Sometimes, especially being data people, I guess it's a good time. I think for those that are data people, they're like, can you keep these coming? Because these guys over here. But we had several different data conversations. It was funny just because we're like, hold on a second. We have a chip shortage. We're pushing EVs that require thousands and thousands of more chips than a regular car. no one's really talking about it. Is someone stockpiling? And then
Yeah.
forcing like
That's a good
there's all
point.
kinds of it's just interesting. That's a little bit
Yeah.
more feeling than fact, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying it was quite
No, it's
interesting.
a good thought though.
When
I've
we were
never
going
thought
round
about
and
it.
round, I was like, I kind of paused for a
Mhm.
second. I'd be like, you're kind of onto something. I mean, who in America doesn't like a good conspiracy theory?
Yeah. Well, if it's taught us anything over the last 2 years, apparently a lot of people. We won't get into that one though.
You're gonna go hard right and stay away from that one.
Wee.
Dumpster fire to your left.
So back to the fact part of the show.
I'd have a little comedic moment in this, you know what I mean? Loosen it up a little bit.
That's what we do. We keep it light. We keep it light.
Great show, Dumpster Fire. That's what I took away. Great, really paid
That's
attention.
the title of this.
That'll be the trail that follows me. Dan Moore's on. Oh, it's gonna be a real dumpster fire.
Dan Moore, aka Dumpster Fire. Oh my God. Too much. Oh, but no, it's there's good times. Oh man. Okay. Well, on that note, let's just we'll go into the lightning round questions. How about that?
Oh, this could be a real dumpster fire.
Okay. So we know how you got into the auto industry. What do you like to do to unwind? Like, what are some of your favorite hobbies?
Well, those that do know me, if I didn't say cooking, if I didn't lead with cooking, they would be like pretty messed up on that one.
Like
Cooking's kind of like, cooking and Legos are like my two things to where the world, like just all the noise just kind of goes away. And in that time, I get what I call my mental break. Because I'm just creating something and it's fun. There's nothing else going on. It's making that dish or building some of these Legos behind me. You know, it's just a fun little break.
Yes. So we were in a Disney last week and hit up a Lego store, and Chris is a huge Lego. So we got the Seinfeld one for him, the Friends one, and then he's like, okay, so for the next couple of years, like for the next, I don't know, he's like, I'm gonna do all. I obviously see Star Wars behind you, and he's like, we're just gonna do all the Star Wars. So we got the Skywalker one for him, and so all the different Star Wars. But they've got, and my younger brother is a Legos fanatic. And so like showing him all the pictures up, and he's like, we're literally doing Legos right now. So yeah, it's absolutely incredible what they can make. I mean, these things are, I don't know if you've been to Disney, like I'd never been to Disney. So like these things are ginormous. I mean, they're huge. Oh, yeah. So that's really cool. Really, really cool.
Yeah. So that's, our house is a Disney house. So we're always at Disney.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying then. Okay, never mind. All right. So favorite vacation spot.
Ooh. I mean, that's a tough one. Ooh. I would probably say more than anything, I mean, spot, I would say thing would be RVing. Our family loves to jump in the RV and just go. Tie up between Maui and Italy, like two different spectrums, but yeah, it's interesting. It's a tough break though.
Okay. Never been to Italy, but Maui, I absolutely love Maui. So yeah. Everything that you do. So obviously you're a very data minded person. So in things that you do, what's like the number one facts versus feelings that you're constantly trying to dispel in what you do every day?
Like in life as a big picture or just in Vista? Because that's facts not feeling can translate so many different ways.
Yeah, whatever way you want to take it.
Yeah, I'd say on the fact side, just trying to get into using facts to get to the root. I think too many times we try to solve a surface problem and we don't dig in and we're not curious enough to dig deeper into finding what the real root is in any situation, both in business and in personal.
Couldn't agree more. Very, very true. You're a disruptor in the industry. So what is one, I'd say, either the hardest or the best lesson you've learned being a disruptor in the industry?
I think more of a pain in the ass is what I'm referring to.
But in a good way.
Yeah, totally good way. I think some of it is just too many times we're trying to protect too many variables in our own like image and brand. And I think for me, it's the disruption is just being straight to the point. Like, I mean, you know me, Brooke, I don't mince words. You ask a question, you get an answer. You may not like it, but I'm going to give you the answer.
That's what I love about you.
Yeah. So it's just, for me, that's one of the things I think that has given me that label is just the fact of, I just don't hold the punches. And not in a mean way. I mean, some people use fear mongering. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm more of like, hey, here's the problem, but there's a solution out there, and let's try and work towards it. So I think some people just put in the fear of, if I don't do this, there's this massive consequence. I have more of the thought process of, you asked a question, I'm challenging your way of thinking. Let's see if we can make some progress on it together.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it, you don't have to buy something to get something, I guess is the end point. I think a lot of times people are using some of their disruptorness to sell something, when in reality, just be a disruptor for the good of the cause. I mean, it's a great industry. I am so blessed to work in this industry that it's my first priority to give to this industry.
Yeah.
If I benefit by selling Vista as the second after I give something, then I'm all in, but I give before I get.
I love everything about that right there. It's so true that, yeah, it's just, if we can leave this industry better than we found it, if we can provide assistance and everything like that, just move this industry forward. That's first and foremost. If somehow, in addition to that, like you said, if you sell Vista, that's great, but that's not first and foremost. That's not why we're having this conversation. That's not why we're assisting other people. It's to assist. That's first and foremost. So I love everything about that. That's awesome. Advice you'd give your younger self?
Stop second guessing yourself.
Ooh, like that.
Just do it.
Love it. All right. Very, very important question. Might be the most important one. What is your favorite car?
Koenigsegg Agera.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
You're like, wait a minute, I wasn't expecting that one.
I know. It took me back there. I was like, oh, was not expecting that at all, actually. Very nice though. Okay. All right. Very nice.
It's just it's just a cool, the car itself is just, it's a very unique vehicle.
Yeah. Nice. All right. All right. I'm going to end on a one more. And if you have it, great. If you don't, totally fine. Do you have a favorite quote?
I have so many.
Oh, okay.
Let me think of one.
Okay.
I'll probably go with the standard one.
Okay.
It's one, and it's kind of probably more of a mine. I tell my daughters this all the time. It's you against you. Who's going to win today?
Love that one. I've never heard that one. Is that by Dan Moore?
That is a Dan Moore quote.
Nice. I like it. You against you. I've never heard that. I really like that. I might have to creatively borrow that from you. I'll give you
well,
credit,
the kicker is who's going to win today? And that one throws everybody off. They're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, no, I've never heard that. Cha-ching. All right. That's going in the quote book. I like that. Very nice. Dan, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much. As always, just love listening to you anytime and being able to speak with you and hear your wise words, obviously, from you. So everyone, thank you for being a part of this. Thanks for letting me into your house, into your workspace. If you're liking what you're hearing, share, subscribe, follow, and as always, also be kind, help someone out. You never know what a kind smile will do to someone. So have a wonderful rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week.